Okay, we'll start with 8 grams of instant dry yeast, as you can see in here. So we're going to be using a dry one and instant one. 8 grams, as I prefer to use them. They are very easy to use, especially for those who never used them before. They look something like this, and we're going to add them straight to 185 milliliters of milk. The milk has to have above body temperature. So not a boiling milk, but you need to heat it up a little bit, and we will mix it up with your yeast dry ones. So we're gonna use one of those. So we're just gonna mix both ingredients nicely together. So the milk will froth a little bit because it's warm, and that will be it. Now we're gonna add 35 grams of sugar. This is just a granulated sugar, so regular granulated sugar. We're gonna throw that straight in, and again we're just gonna want to combine all 3 ingredients. So we're gonna mix it all together, nice and easy. And now we're gonna add about 6 grams of just a table salt. Again, we just have to mix all the ingredients. As you can see, the recipe is very straightforward, very easy to follow. Now we're just gonna add one whole egg. So we're gonna throw that in, and then we want to mix the egg really well. So we're gonna stir all the ingredients together again, and to make sure there's no bits, so it's all proper combined, as you can see in here. And now we're gonna go with 350 grams of flour, just a bread flour. As you can see in here, the dough is quite wet, but we'll leave it for about 15 minutes. So all we have to do is cover it and leave it in a nice warm place. So we're gonna do just that, and after 15 minutes, if your house is cold or if it's winter time, all you have to do is put your oven on, switch it off, and then you will put it in the oven when it's not on. Now we're gonna add 44 grams of butter just after 15 minutes. So we're gonna use a butter, but butter has to be nice and soft, room temperature or even a bit warmer, so it's gonna combine well with our dough. So we're just gonna need a mat. I'm using silicone mat, it's really good, I can highly recommend that. And we're just gonna throw our dough, and then we're gonna add our butter. So the butter, as you can see, it's very soft. We're just gonna work it all in our dough. It should be completely fine and easy to work, as I say, and as you can see in here, the dough is still wet, so it is very wet, and it's normal. That's a good thing, don't worry about anything. So we're gonna work that butter in nicely, and so it will take a couple of minutes, I would say probably 5-10 minutes. And you can use one of those scrapers to scrape it. It's wet, so it's hard to keep it all together. So we're just gonna scrape it all in, and that's quite good with scraping it, as you will find out for yourself. So all we have to do is just combine, make sure the butter has melted inside the dough, and you're done. Next step, we're gonna add 1 spoon of flour. So I'm gonna throw straight in 1 big spoon of flour, because our dough is quite wet. That's the main reason. So we're gonna throw 1 spoon in, and combine ingredients again with your hand. Nothing better than your hand, because you've got control of your dough. So we'll combine it nicely so you can see the raw flour, and your dough will look a bit better. We're gonna leave it now for 1 hour in a warm place. It's really important that you're leaving it in a warm place so it can expand and double in size. Now we're just gonna put another 1 spoon of flour on the surface, so our dough doesn't stick. So we're gonna throw it all in, and we're gonna take our dough. As you can see in here, the dough has doubled in size, which is a sign that yeast has been activated. If your dough hasn't doubled in size, that means you have to start again from scratch, because it didn't work. If your dough didn't expand, didn't work, then that means it's not right to make your donuts. So that's how it looks nice and yellow, as you can see in here. Really good quality ingredients, gives you really good quality product. So That's my belief. So we've got our dough. Now we're gonna go to next step. We need one of those because I don't have a cutter. You can purchase dough cutters, but if you don't have it, that will just do. So I will use, I think it's 1M foam for creams and stuff. So I'm gonna cut our donuts middle with that. So we've got our dough, and now we're gonna, doesn't need any more flour, the consistency is perfect, nice and fluffy, and we're just gonna flatten it and we're gonna cut it in a minute. So we're gonna use a scraper, or you can use a sharp knife, whatever you've got handy. Don't worry about if you don't have a scraper like this. We're gonna cut our dough in half and then in our individual portion for our donuts. So we're gonna cut around 7 portions out, just like this, little triangles, and then I will show you with my just one hand, because I'm holding the camera with the other. We're gonna basically form that into a donut. So we're gonna grab one of them, each one. It's still a bit sticky, but that's fine, that's a good sign. And we're just gonna roll it into a bowl, into our donut basically. So with both hands you're gonna form a better round donut than myself, so use both of your hands, and I just wanted to show you. So just gonna roll it into a nice fluffy donut, and we're gonna have, as I said, about 7 or 8, depends of the size you want. But don't worry about that, I will show you in a minute what you have to do with the size, because we have roughly cut them into donuts. So we're gonna have to finish them all, grab them all and roll them into a bowl, as you can see in here. Nice and easy, nothing difficult. The whole recipe is very straightforward, but the end result is really good, and you get a nice fluffy donuts, better than in the shop, and you know what goes into them, and you can control how sweet they are, which is really good. So if you don't want to use too much salt, you can use a bit less, so you are in control, which is nice, and they are really nice and fluffy. So this recipe is definitely worth. So we've got about 7 donuts, and now we're gonna go ahead and make a hole. Before we do that, what I would advise to do is grab yourself a scale, just kitchen scale, regular cheap scales I've got, it's a really good one, and just make sure you're in the grams, and just basically weight how much is one of those donuts. This one is 74. We want to have all of them similar weight, the same weight if you're using a scale. So we're gonna make them now. I have weighted them, all of them, so they're all the same size. It takes only a few minutes, but you know, you can make it right. So we've done that part, weighting them all the same. They're roughly 74 grams each, and now we're just gonna cut out the hole completely out. So we're not gonna throw anything away because it's nice fluffy dough, so we're gonna keep the ends and mix it and get extra donut from it. So we're gonna cut it all out and mix it all together, the ends, like you can see on the side, and get another donut. We have to do it with every single one, so get that all done, get it all out. As you can see, he's nice and fluffy dough, nearly finished. So we have ended up with extra donut here, which is always a bonus. Now we're going to use the scraper to move our donuts because they need to rest, and again they will expand. So we're going to cover them and leave them in a warm place again. In the meantime, we're going to prepare a bowl with the granulated sugar. You can add a bit of cinnamon to your sugar if you wanted to, or you can use a vanilla sugar, it's up to you. We're gonna prepare something to take our donut straight after frying. So I've got a little rack in here with some paper towel underneath and our oil. It's up to you which one you're gonna be using. I'm gonna use just a regular oil I use for the donuts. So we're gonna throw some into our pan. I'm gonna be using, as you can see in here, regular pan, nothing special. I don't want to be going and buying special pans or anything, but that will just do the job. So we've got quite a lot of oil here because you do need some oil. We're gonna be deep frying them. Right, our donuts are ready, and it's been 1 hour. they rested and expanded, as you can see. If you don't, you need to check the temperature, but if you can't and you don't have anything to check your temperature, it has to be 180. You can just put a wooden spoon, and if you get some bubbles coming out, that means the temperature is perfect for your donuts. You don't want to be frying your donuts on a higher temperature than 180, so you have to be careful. It's not too high, it's not crazy bubbling, it's just bubbling slowly. So you want to fry them inside, outside, nice brown, crispy. You don't want to go crazy with your temperature, so that's the only thing to be aware of when you're making donuts, when you're frying them. So be careful with the temperature. That's my tip there, golden tip, I would say. So when you lid on, make sure they're all nice and brown, golden brown. If you need to, you can turn them, and then we're gonna have to let them cool down. Make sure they are cooled down before you're gonna sugar them. Coat them with the sugar, and don't be shy with the sugar. They do need lots of sugar. They are sugary donuts, and it's a treat at the end of the day. So you want to make them nice and tasty, coat them nicely, and they are delicious. My kids has tried them and they said they are incredible, and you won't stop on one. They're that nice, freshly made and fluffy, and I would recommend to eat them the same day, as they're that good. Better than the one you could buy in any shop, freshly made and delicious. And we're not making massive batch in here, so from this recipe you will get about 8 freshly made donuts. Imagine having one of those with a cup of coffee or cup of tea, and nothing better. Really, really tasty. I will show you quickly. Have a look inside. So we'll get one of those. This is how they look inside. Very nice and fluffy and delicious. Enjoy the recipe. I will see you in my next one.